Hey everyone, it's Matt. So the Wall Street Journal did an article a couple of weeks back, as well as a YouTube video for that matter, which talks about the top-ranked university in the United States as well as the best value colleges in the United States. And I'll be sure to include a link to that video in the description below, so definitely go ahead and check that out. But the key thing to note when it comes to that particular video is the top-ranked universities on a year-over-year basis are generally speaking about the same, and the fact of the matter remains that these top-ranked universities are generally going to be top-ranked for the foreseeable future. And the reason why I say that these universities will continue to be top-ranked for the foreseeable future is due to the fact that these universities have significantly large endowments. When they have significantly large endowments, they can basically invest in a lot of their programs that should allow those programs to be in the upper echelon amongst all universities. The other thing to note here is that when you have some of these top universities and the pedigree that they hold, they typically have the tendency of attracting better talent. So when you have better talent, better programs, you're generally speaking going to have better outcomes. So if a parent knows that they want to send their kid to one of these top-ranked or upper echelon universities in the United States, the question really becomes is how much should these parents potentially save such that their kids can go into one of these programs? And that's specifically what I'm going to talk about in this video. But before I get too far into it, don't forget to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, and let's get into it. One of the key things to note here is before we go too far into this video is I did a video several months back that talked about a college saving calculator, and I'm going to be utilizing that same college saving calculator for the purpose of this video. That Excel spreadsheet, and for that matter, any of the Excel spreadsheets that I talk about in any of my videos, they're all available for free, okay? Just include a comment in the description below with your email or contact information. I've included my contact information in the description as well, which are ways such that you can basically reach out to me, and then I'll share a lot of these spreadsheets over email. But when it comes to how much should a parent perhaps be saving for their kids' college, there are a lot of factors that are basically involved in coming up with a number on how much you can potentially save, okay? Because there are factors that are unknowns, such as financial aid as well as scholarship. Now, a lot of these universities will, of course, be talking about how they give out significant amount of money when it comes to scholarships, but it's hard to assume what that is going to be. And then the other fact of the matter remains that some parents have different expectations for their kids when it comes to their university experience. For example, some parents may have this notion where they will say that, hey, I'll foot 50% or 25% of the bill. My kid is responsible for the remainder. They need to get jobs or whatever else they need to do such that they have the vested interest into their future. So there are a lot of nuances. So in this video, what I'm only going to talk about is the known knowns, okay? And the known knowns that when it comes to these types of programs is what is the current tuition, what is the current room and board, and some of the other fees, books, etc. when it comes to a lot of these elite institutions, and use that number as a baseline in terms of determining how much should a parent save when it comes to their kids' future education at a lot of these types of elite institutions. So this spreadsheet right here talks about the top-ranked universities in 2022 per the Wall Street Journal, okay? But what this spreadsheet is basically saying is that when it comes to Harvard, as an example, the current cost of annual tuition, room and board, other fees is around $82,178, okay? So it's a ridiculous amount. And what you can see from this spreadsheet is, for the most part, a lot of these top 10 institutions are somewhere in that $70,000 to $80,000 range on an annual basis. And these are current prices, okay? So if you're a parent and your kid is perhaps going to go to school 15, 18, 13 years from now, you can safely assume that the cost of a lot of these colleges is going to continue to go up somewhere in that 3 to 5% basis on an annual rate. What this spreadsheet is going on to say is that if you want to fully support your kid going to Harvard about 13 years from now, and when I say fully support, i.e. you're paying 100% of the educational expenses associated for your kid, you basically need to save about $2,447 $7 on a monthly basis. And this assumes no financial aid and absolutely no scholarships. And what you will see is across all of these universities, it's all about the same, okay? How did I arrive at a lot of these numbers? And this is where that prior video that I did on the college saving calculator basically becomes relevant. But at a very high level, what I have assumed is that your kid at this current rate, the current stage, is about 5 years old. They have about 13 years before they go to college. I've plugged in Harvard's numbers. I'm saying that we're supporting 100% of your kid's education. What I've also gone on to say is that the expected rate of increase when it comes to these college prices is around 5%, which would basically mean that the cost of Harvard, assuming all of this fact pattern is true, is going to be about $668,000 13 years from now for a standard 4-year type of program. And then this spreadsheet over here talks about the math in terms of how you basically derive that number. Additionally, the spreadsheet goes on to say that we need to save about $2,447 a month such that you can basically fully fund this level of education, and that assumes an investment growth rate of around 8%, which is fairly typical for the S&P 500, which has had some of that 7 to 8% range of return for the last several decades. What I've also done in this particular spreadsheet is I wanted to get an assessment of these best value colleges, okay? Because I was under the assumption that these value colleges are perhaps going to be significantly cheaper with perhaps pretty decent outcomes as was similar to those top-ranked universities, because that's how I would effectively define value. And this list basically shows what some of those top 10 best value colleges are per that Wall Street Journal article. This column here in column C shows the current cost annually for a lot of these types of colleges as well. And assuming the same paradigm that we were talking about earlier, i.e. a 5% rate of return, you're funneling about 100% of your kid's college, etc., 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 13 years of basic growth. As a kid is 5 years old, they'll be going to get college when they're 18, 19. This is how much you would need to save on a monthly basis so that your kid can basically go to any of these types of institutions. So the numbers are absolutely crazy in terms of what these top-ranked universities as well as these best value colleges are going to be charging in the future. And it basically goes to show that something has got to give, okay? Something has got to give, and it could be the notion that these college prices, they cannot continue to rise at the exorbitant paces that they're going up with right now, or parents may have to come up with a slightly different way of thinking about what is college going to basically be for their kid in the future, okay? Is it going to be some type of a hybrid notion? Is it going to be more in-state type of programs? Is it going to be more like they go to a community college type of fact pattern for a few years and then they go to college, or maybe they just go to community college or a trade school for that entire time? Because we know that a lot of trade schools, they have significantly decent outcomes. Something needs to happen because most people are not going to be saving this type of money on a monthly basis before their kids basically go to college. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the contents of this video. It gives you some level of framework when it comes to the numbers or the type of savings you need to have. Definitely go ahead and check out that college saving calculator video as well. And I hope you enjoyed the contents of this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one.